one of the things we used to do when we lived in Ely, Edward was part of a band. He was the drummer. He was only about 16 at the time. But the band used to meet in Southend, and the reason for that was because one of the other members came up from Kent, or the outskirts of London. And so we travelled down to Southend, to a little school hall there, and we'd leave Edward with Ali and his brother and this other member, I can't remember his name, and we'd go off because they'd be practising all afternoon, so we had to find something to do. So Chris, myself and young Paul would go off and explore. One of the places we went to look at was the skateboarding park. Huge, huge ramps, so high. Paul went on some of the small ramps, but that was it. I mean, some of those ramps were really, really high. Wicked, as they say. And the other thing we used to do at Southend was we'd take the dogs for a walk. There was a wild stretch of, what would you call it, reserve. And we'd go and walk the dogs there. We had Marley and Dodie, who were both a lot younger. And one time we went on the pier. You could see the pier stretching out into the distance. So one day we went onto the pier. We didn't walk all the way to the end. We caught the little train and trundled all the way along the pier to the end. When we got to the end, we looked in the shops and we bought one or two things. We watched the fishermen. And then we simply came back on the little train back down the pier. So that was interesting. Now, it wasn't long after that that the end of the pier burnt down. So this poster we have in our little toilet downstairs is a poster of the pier before it burnt down. I mean, I think they've restored it now, but so those were those times. And then we'd go back to the school to pick up Edward, and if they weren't finished, then we'd simply sit and listen to them practising, and then obviously go home afterwards.